All right. For those of you who are creeped out by military excess, like you don't like to see the streets filled with military personnel, like you think maybe seeing Washington, D.C. basically looking like it's under martial law. For those of you who don't like that, well, welcome to 2020 2.0, and the so-called inauguration, which to me looks something like a dystopian, uh, I don't know, fiction book that's coming true. I am a peacemonger. I am not a war maker. All right, just for the record, I've got peace enzymes, which mostly have to deal with the fact that every time America gets involved in some sort of conflict, we never, ever get out of it. Think about that for just a little bit. Afghanistan, what, 20 years and counting? Now we're on American soil, people. So the domestic enemies of this warfare state. Now, I think I'm saying stuff that's fairly profound here, so stay with me here. We have been in a perpetual state of conflict with various countries around the world with no end in sight. The government and the media, the so-called media, I call it the propaganda wing of the information world, has deemed people who don't agree with said media and those who were selected and not necessarily elected. By the way, that also goes for the courts and pretty much everybody based on the last election, right? Now, again, those are my opinions. You can disagree. I've seen too much physical, actual, tangible stuff to just say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to retreat on that position. I know the world wants me to. Literally the world, other than like the Mexican president who's come to his senses, even though I don't think I would agree with the Mexican president politically speaking, but has the common sense to say, whoa, censorship? Complete censorship. Nope. Even I, who have, very socialist tendencies and maybe even some authoritarian inclinations, I am not for that. So let me get back to the military. So we've had conflicts around the world that never seem to end. I think Donald Trump, what he did was he capped it. He didn't necessarily reduce it all that much, but his inclination was to do so. And I say this to my libertarian friends, saying, I don't know if you're going to get much better than this in the age we're living in. If you think you're going to get a full troop withdrawal from anywhere, and not have to deal with the troops that actually do the trooping, I just don't know who's been better on this than Donald J. Trump in the last, I don't know, since maybe Reagan? Yeah, I would say since Reagan. And funny, they're both kind of in the same category politically. Notice that George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush aren't in that category. So who are the new enemy? I am. You might be. We're the new enemy. So the military is now being told that the people who don't agree with the new administration, by the way, nobody is threatening to blow up the White House. I remember there was this pop singer who said that she sometimes dreamed of it. Nobody was going to chop the head off of the sitting president. I remember Kathy Griffin or Griffith, whatever her name is, holding up the severed head of the current sitting president, at least for another 48 hours or so. Okay. There have been a lot of really interesting things that have been said. And it just seems now that those people are protected, okay, because they have the right thinking. Right think, right? Double plus good, right think. And you go to these rallies and you pretend you're all enthusiastic about something that you hate. Theoretically speaking, if the rally actually existed, but it isn't. Everything's virtual thanks to COVID. Thanks to COVID. Isn't that a very interesting coincidence? Is anybody putting this together and thinking to themselves, all of these different pieces came together? And look, could be just coincidence. But I remember what Rahm Emanuel said back in 2009 or whatever. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So we've got a financial crisis, so let's just start printing money. Let's give money to people who can't afford to pay this back. How'd that work out for us? So the people who are in the crosshairs of the propaganda media, the people who just gaslight every time you turn on the TV. Oh, did you hear what Joe Biden? I have a local news anchor who I absolutely loathe. And she's probably a really nice person. Like if you met her on the street, you just, hello. She comes off as the soccer mom. All right. And she does the news. And I listen to her. And did you hear what Joe Biden's going to do for everybody? He's going to give money away. See, this is great. He's got a very ambitious 100 days. Very ambitious. He plans on dismantling the United States Constitution, which is a relic and needs to be thrown into the garbage. It's going to be amazing. And I'm listening to this and I'm going, holy crap. This represents, not only is she like a representative of the useful idiot class, she is the class. I see it. I see it every day of my life when I go out into the world. Of course, I haven't been going out as much because of COVID, because I really don't like wearing a face diaper. So, you know what I do? I say, you want me to do this, this, and this, but I'm just not going to do that today. I don't go out as much. I know so many people. This is a tragedy. Like older Americans who grew up with basic rights and freedoms where they just didn't think twice about, say, leaving their house. Now you got to think, oh, if I go to this store, it's really going to suck at this store. They got some guy at the door that's going to make you feel guilty. Even though it's not a law. See, I live in Florida. Everybody thinks, here's the thing that people think about Florida. You guys have got it made, or the people on the progressive side of things that like authoritarianism, they go, what's wrong with your governor? How come he hasn't locked everybody down? So the other people, though, think that, we're just open for business and everything's great. We're open for business, but the businesses are acting like the government. So there is no real difference. And I've been saying this for a while now. Corporations, this is where we have to be really careful if you're a libertarian, because you give corporations the kind of power they have now. That ain't libertarianism. That is tyranny, kind of transferred from the governor, or from the government rather, to the corporation, as they both work in unison because they have so much power. You don't think Jeff Bezos has amazing power right now? Jeez. I mean, really? You're going to lock it down again? Good. More deliveries. Oh, I can't wait to deliver. See, there's a private company that's really on the ball, that's designed a product that consumers need and want. Thanks to government tyranny, which works hand in hand, where Bezos doesn't pay taxes, right? Right? Everything is interconnected. Bezos might as well just get sworn in. I mean, Elon Musk technically has more money, but Bezos might as well be sworn in as president because he's got far more power than the corpse who's about to be sworn in. All right, let me get back to the military. So the military is everywhere. State capitals, DC. This is close to localized martial law events. I would say in DC, it's a full-scale martial law event. People there are just seeing. Remember, we were told by Nancy Pelosi, oh my goodness, all of that military hardware. If the police are being militarized. Yes, they are. Because a couple of hundred people broke into the Capitol and broke some windows, and one of them got shot and died, okay? And the other guys either had strokes, and we don't know how they died, and it's a little bit confusing what happened to the Capitol Police. All I remember is seeing them moving these metal, like bike rack type things out of the way so people could just charge it, you know? Very suspicious. Am I saying it's a conspiracy theory? Dave, put away your tinfoil hat and just get to the point. So the military, here's the point. Military is now going to be used against we the people. That's the point. It's clear. It's clear as day. The military is now going to be used to target us. And remember all those endless wars that, Tulsi Gabbard liked to talk about, my favorite presidential campaign candidate, whatever I'm trying to say. Yeah, endless war. And guess where the endless war is now? It's right here. America is now part of the whole endless war regime. See, you had all these foreign countries. This is great, because the foreign countries, you can go over there and Americans don't even have to think about it. Now you've got a class of people in this country that wants to eliminate free speech. And they want to dox and arrest and even just, ostracize, embarrass, humiliate people that don't think like they do. This is insanity, people. This is like the kid having the temper tantrum and having to get their way. Okay, guess what? Most, I'm not saying all, believe me, this time around it's a little bit different because of some of the stuff about Electric Frog. That's my code terminology. Electric Frog, the band from 1967, very psychedelic. Got great tunes. You got to hear it. There are too many people that have actually seen physical evidence. There are thousands of affidavits that were signed. So this one's a tough one to dissolve. All right. This one ain't going to just stir in the water and just going to dissolve and go away. And people are going to say, yeah, man, I remember when those crazy people were talking about frogs. And those frogs didn't actually exist. It was just in their own mind. It's their own version of Russiagate, man. No, that's not the truth. So those people now are going to be surveilled. Those people now are the target of the United States military, along with other people. Like, do you think Glenn Greenwald is safe? Do you think Jimmy Dore is safe? Do you think some of those lefties who hate the establishment, maybe for different reasons, maybe some of the reasons intersect, doesn't really matter. They're just going to hear the same thing, like you're not going along to get along. Round them up, target them, dox them, find them, arrest them, bring them in. Show them that they have no constitutional rights, because that document, it's just a paper tiger right now. It means nothing. And I mean, come on. We could have that discussion all day long. I can talk to people on the far right. I can talk to libertarians. I can talk to progressives. I'm going to tell them, you think this document means anything? Some people hope it doesn't mean anything anymore. That's the sad thing. So the endless war has come home, folks. So if you were worried, by the way, see, again, this is why I will kind of miss Donald Trump, because Donald Trump didn't want to start a war on his own people. Donald Trump didn't want to start a new war. He worked against the military-industrial complex. I'll be honest, he failed. He failed. He tried. He failed. But here's what he did accomplish, even through failing, is that he didn't add to the number of wars we have. He spent trillions of dollars trying to placate these people and saying, let's build the military up and be the strong military so nobody attacks us. It's a Ronald Reagan strategy. Peace through strength. Can it work? Yeah. But long term, it's just something that, politicians do, maybe for leverage with foreign policy, maybe to make the military contractors really happy. But the fact that Trump didn't want to commit to all these wars angered so many people that do this for a living. That's all they do. So guess what? The first war that will be declared on January 20th will be against you and me. And it's already here. Because look at the militarization of everything. Funny, I haven't heard too many calls from the progressives who were a little ticked off that we were using the military too much during the stuff that happened last summer, which, by the way, we were really restrained, I thought. Trump wanted to go into Portland and Seattle and so forth, and he didn't. He did it the very end, like the day before, I guess they cleaned it up because they heard he was coming. And I think that was appropriate, even though I didn't necessarily like it. Libertarian enzymes kind of poking through there, but I thought to myself, hey, law and order at this stage, these people are insane. Autonomous zones, they might come back. And guess what? The military will stand down for stuff like that. But the citizen who wants to go and earn a living, and they're tired of being locked in their house, they're tired of these stupid rules that have not worked at all, because we still wouldn't be here almost 12 months later if the stupid rules worked. And I'm in a state where you don't even have to do it, and I see like 95% compliance. And I heard a medical expert say, from the other side of the equation, that, hey, if we can get to 80% compliance, we got this thing beat. Well, guess what? That didn't work. 2 weeks to slow the spread or flatten the curve, that didn't work. On and on it goes. It doesn't work. Social distancing does not work. So here's where we're at. The ultimate endless war. The military against their own citizens. I am not a happy camper, even though I try to smile through it, because I think to myself, what the hell else is going to go on? Oh, I don't know, but I can almost assure you that we, the people in all 50 states, are basically an endless supply of conflict for the military-industrial complex, who now sees probably their biggest threat ever. And that threat, by the way, is going to be confirmed by the new president and the new vice president and all of the people they install in their administration. It's even being affirmed by certain Republicans like Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell and, name your neocon. They're all in it together. So some dark days are ahead. The dark winter will be an endless winter and then an endless summer as we get into some really just stuff that you never thought you would see in your lifetime, where American citizens are targeted for not sharing the corporate belief. And the corporate belief, which has proven itself to be wrong, um, the merger, the great merger between government and corporations, which has now become so incestuous and so inseparable. And you just wonder to yourself, well, they have all of this power, and your voice can't even be heard now because it's being censored. Wow. So I'm just kind of wondering out loud here, other than apathy and being fat and lazy and being kind of addicted to various technologies, why our population has been, this diplomatic or this quiet or this restrained for so long. I just think that, they've designed all of this is by some kind of design. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it just happened by accident. It's like the difference between evolution and creationism. Sorry to get into theology. That was bad. I mean, you can believe in whatever you want to believe, but I'm saying either it happened by accident or there was a designer. And in this case, I have a hunch that there was a designer. So in any event, endless war against us, and it's here. So what we do, don't know. Gonna have to watch to see how bad it gets. Is it going to get to the point where you can't function as a human being, that you don't have rights, that you don't have ideas, that you can't express those ideas rather in the public forum, that you can't find a well-researched article and share it with a friend so they won't think that their mind is going crazy? That's where we're at currently. And I know a lot of people don't want to engage anymore because they're tired. I'm tired of the political crap. That's why I have another channel. I mean, at the end of this, it's like, pissing in the wind. Sorry to use that example. It's not doing anything. Going all over, back over me and you. It's bad. You don't want to do that. You want to just like hide. You want to run away. So keep in mind that not only is there a domestic Cold War happening that could become a hot war, and the war isn't necessarily going to be like, the greatest thing that can happen is that progressive people can understand the MAGA people and then come together to defeat this horrible ruling class. That would be the best thing in the world. And I would embrace my brothers and sisters with that in mind, knowing that I'm not going to agree with them on some issues, but I'm going to embrace the idea of freedom, and I'm going to tell them, come along and let's create some freedom together. Then we can have these robust debates about issues. We could be friends as we debate the issues, and we could actually get things done. We could compromise. We could work toward their goals, and maybe they could see some of our opinions and beliefs as well. Once we realize we have a common enemy, we can be really strong against it. But I got to tell you, if it's us against the military, we're going to lose. I don't have any tanks. I don't have any machine guns here. I should have maybe bought some firearms. I don't. I would still be outgunned no matter what I did. Should I buy rocket launchers? I mean, what am I supposed to do? It's up to the government to keep us safe. And guess what? The government is about to forfeit their role of keeping us safe over what they believe are dissidents, people who don't share their quote unquote view of what America should be. And those dissidents, by the way, they're mostly on the right now. I guarantee you, once the left understands what's happening, that this is all a show trial, the climate accords, the Paris Climate Accords, really, where other countries don't have to get involved, when we pay all this money out and we get nothing. And by the way, our CO2 in this country has been dropping thanks to technology and innovation. So why are we signing into this again when countries like China don't have to be involved in this? See, it's kind of cool. Like a country like, I don't know, Brazil, somewhere, they just decided to turn Twitter off. They're like, nope, you're not welcome in our country anymore. Sorry. That's cool. See, that's the government seeing some kind of enemy that's coming from outside the country. And it's like a propaganda cloud that just floats over. And, you know, the president there says, no, no. Because number one, it's behavior too that's destroying like clear thinking. You know, I need to zing this person. I need to debate this person. I need to yell at this person. Meanwhile, you're wasting away as a human being. Go read a book. Even watch a television show. I mean, that's kind of mindless too, but it's less mindless than Twitter. You know, do I go on Twitter? Yes. Do I spend all day on there? No bleeping way. Design. Remember what I said about design? You tell me I have a tinfoil hat. I don't care. I really don't care. I never thought a year out from when I was just like, go Tulsi, go, I'd be, holy crap, the world's going to hell. But here we are. So the military industrial complex has now got its sights on you and I. Who would have thunk it? Well, maybe they ran out of other countries, but America, what, 350 million people, whatever we are here? That's a lot of people to have to deal with on a daily basis. To keep them all in line, you will need that $1 trillion budget and all of that military intelligence that comes along with it. And you'll need military hardware to lock places down. If you think there's going to be some kind of insurrection, which is, again, 100 people, a couple of Q shaman up there who look like they're, you know, out of some Marianne Williamson dystopian book. I'm just throwing it in there. They were not a threat. None of those people were really a threat. Maybe that guy Sullivan was a threat. I don't know. There were people who weren't really associated with the event, who infiltrated the event, who you won't hear about on any of your favorite media sources because they don't want you to know that maybe, again, just maybe, the whole thing was a setup. And so here we are, the population at bay, doesn't know what to do, can't do anything, can't get any satisfaction in the court, can't even go protest, votes, well, you end up with electric frogs if you go vote, and nobody likes an electric frog because they can sting. And you say to yourself, well, I did what I'm supposed to do. This was supposed to be peaceful, right? And even if I can't even complain about it on my local social media, or they take down my post. That's why people are going a little insane right now, because they always had democracy and a voice that they can lean on. Instead, they've got the military now just bearing down and saying, really, you're going to do that? I wouldn't do it. You might lose your job. I wouldn't do it. You might be arrested. And there's nobody there that's going to be your friend. The courts aren't your friends. Politicians are definitely not your friends. And the system right now is breaking down. And the system is definitely not going to be friendly to you. I have no hope. I don't know what we do. Because if it's us against the military, we're going to lose. We are going to lose. We are going to have to be compliant. If you don't like getting a vaccine, you will have to get a vaccine. If you don't think it's a good idea that your DNA gets scrambled when you get a vaccine, and do some research. Do some research. There is one vaccine out there, a Novio or something like that, that's in development that doesn't scramble the DNA, but does all kinds of other crap to you. None of these vaccines, this is a big experiment that they're doing on the population, because vaccines require years of testing. And Big Pharma has no liability. By the way, you're not hearing about those adverse reactions that are happening out there. And some of those reactions are pretty adverse. 55 of them, according to one kind of alternative publication that I read yesterday, 55 of them have resulted in loss of heartbeat. Just going to say it like that because I don't want to get, I'm probably going to get censored on this. So demonetized, whatever. Us against the military. How's that sound for you? The new Cold War, it's against American citizens. Does that sound crazy? I don't think so. Is it, am I making it out to be worse than it is? We'll see. It's early still. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. And then I can just kind of go, well, boy, was I paranoid. Boy, was that tinfoil hat on a little bit too tight. Yeah, we'll see how that all works out.